To start off with, it is very important for you to take note of all the guidelines and instructions shared in this recording. Firstly, as you have been informed already, your school-based studies will take place for 10 weeks. It is important that you take note of all the important documents that you need to submit at the end of your school-based studies. These documents should be completed during the period of your school-based studies. Please note that the numbering of the documents was done with other SBS documents needed for this qualification. So, it might mean that some of the document numbering will not be in a sequential form. Please take note of that. So, we will only discuss the documents needed for the postgraduate diploma in education. Please take note that each qualification and each year of study will have different requirements. So if you are not certain whether you are required to include a particular document for your school-based studies documents, please refer back to this recording or your SBS package specifically labeled for the postgraduate diploma in education students. Firstly, there will be a letter to the school and a letter to your employer. Now, the letter to the schools serve to seek permission from the school to conduct your SBS. This is very important that you do prior arrangements. Before you start your school-based studies, you need to identify a school where you will conduct your SBS for the 10 weeks. You need to make an appointment with the principal and then submit this letter to the school to seek permission to conduct your SBS at that particular school. There will also be, for those that are employed, a letter that you can provide to your employer. This is to serve or to seek study for your SBS purposes. So that you can get study leave, for your SBS purposes. Also take note that when you submit these documents, especially the letter to the school where you seek permission to conduct your SBS at that particular school, you need to attach a copy of your ID or your passport and your student card. Then the first form that you will have will be your file checklist. Remember, all these documents that we are referring to are available in soft copy in the SBS package, specifically for the postgraduate students. In the file that you are going to compile at the end of your school-based study, every student is required to file all the documents that are listed on the checklist. So you need to make sure that all the documents required as per the checklist are included or filed in your school-based study file that you will submit at the end of your 10 weeks to the university. Now, this includes some of the materials used or developed during SBS, key ministerial documents that you need to be aware of, and some documents are to be collected from the schools where you will conduct your SBS. So it is very important that you make sure to go through the file checklist before the start of your SBS, so that you are aware of all the documents that you are required to include in your file. Then Form 4A is a student-teacher confidential report. This form should be completed and signed by the school principal at the end of your SBS. And this is based on the conduct of the student during the SBS period. So this is another important document, just like many other, that should be completed by the principal. And the school stamp should be on that confidential report. But once it is completed, it should be sealed in an envelope. Then, where the envelope is at the sealed part, where the envelope is sealed, the principal or the secretary should stamp it, and the student should bring it in a sealed format to the university. Remember that this is a confidential report. Classroom observation log sheet, which is Form 5A. This is a form that students need to use to record all the lessons that they have observed during their SBS. So apart from teaching, you are also expected to observe. So over the period of 10 weeks, you are needed or you are expected to observe lessons taught by your mentor teachers. And you should record this on your classroom observation log sheet. Form 6A, Teaching Observation Lesson Evaluation Form. So this is a form that must be used by the mentor teacher and the lecturer to assess the student's teaching practice. So you need to make enough copies of the evaluation form to allow or to give the mentor teacher an opportunity to also evaluate your lesson delivery. Then some general additional information that all students should take note of. Now, letters to the employer and the school have already been issued by the SBS coordinator. So make sure that you get hold of these letters, as you need to inform your employers, in the case where you are employed, that you will be away from work for 10 weeks to conduct this SBS, and also to indicate the validity of what you are doing, that this is indeed a requirement from the side of the university. But you also need that very important letter that you are to give to the school principal to request for permission. These letters are already available. Take note that you should be in schools for 10 weeks. During the 10 weeks that you are at the school, you are expected to be there full time. You become part of the school, and you need to adhere to the school rules, and you need to fully participate in the school activities. If there is a request for you to take part in the extramural activities under the supervision of your mentor teacher or the school principal, then you need to participate. Remember, the purpose of school-based studies is to give you an opportunity to experience the school environment. And we know that the school environment is not only restricted to the classroom. There are various activities that takes place. So make sure that you take time during these 10 weeks to ensure that you partake and prepare yourself for what is to come when you start your employment as a qualified teacher. All students should teach at least 25 lessons. This is the minimum, meaning that you are not restricted to 25 lessons, but you are expected to at least teach 25 lessons. The 25 lessons should be a combination of those of your two school subjects. So you need to ensure that the school where you are planning to conduct your SBS offers both the school subjects that you are qualifying in. You use Form 5B to record all the lessons taught. You should also observe 25 lessons. So you will use Form 5A to indicate all the lessons that you have observed. Remember also that this is only the minimum. So you are not restricted to only observe 25 lessons, but you should at least observe 25 lessons. All students should be assessed at least once by their mentor teachers in both their subjects, and a sample number of students will be assessed by the lecturers. So lecturers and mentor teachers should use Form 6A to assess students' teaching. Remember, you are expected to include this form in your file as well. The information regarding accurate dates of SBS will be shared by the Faculty of Education. As you know, during this time of the pandemic, it also influenced our dates. But now dates have been made available of when the schools will start. All students should do their SBS at a school that offers their school major subjects. So it is important that you get enough opportunity to teach and observe lessons in your particular field. So if you are doing English and business studies, you should be given the opportunity to observe and to teach both these subjects. So ideally, you should select a school where these subjects are offered. All correspondence regarding SBS must be directed to the SBS coordinator in the respective campus. It is important that you read the SBS policy for the faculty for more information. Students going for SBS have a choice to choose a school where they should conduct their SBS, because we as the university, we are not liable for any field incentives to cater for students' living allowance while the students are in the field for SBS. So when you select a school, take note of the vicinity, close to your home environment, but also consider the subjects offered. Students on SBS shall comply with the conduct of teachers in Namibia, and IUM will not interfere with the host school's rules and regulations. This is very important. You need to conduct yourself like a teacher. So over the course of time, we have gone through all the important requirements for teachers. You need to adhere to all these requirements, and you stand under the authority of the host school. So we as the university will not interfere with the rules and regulations of the school. So it is also important that when you select a school where you will conduct your SBS, that you also consider the rules and the regulations of that school before the start of your SBS. Students going for SBS shall receive SBS placement letters. Okay, so this is already available, and you can contact the SBS coordinator so that you can receive these letters. At the end of the SBS coordinator shall facilitate the submission of all SBS material to the university within 1 week upon the student's arrival from SBS. If there are still any questions, make sure that you contact the SBS coordinator in your campus.